Hey, Jason Seiden here. So this one, I clearly am just walking into the office, but it's important enough. I just want to hit it right away this morning. I've been sharing comfort communications now for a few weeks with people, and I have yet to talk to anybody who's a practitioner who hasn't said that they didn't have something within the last 2 weeks where they could have used this. And one conversation I had last night really stuck with me. I was talking to a colleague, and they mentioned that one of their colleagues, one of their coworkers, was a suicide survivor, meaning they had somebody in their life who was close to them who had just died of suicide. And my colleague was saying how nobody in the company knew it was suicide until after the funeral. Nobody in the family and this individual, nobody talked about how the person had died. And so it was like a double shockwave for the company when they realized how deep the wound went. And I wanted to mention this because, look, it's hard enough talking about all this stuff. I know that I'm sitting here talking about providing comfort and mental health and grief, and that's starting to get some traction, but suicide itself it's like a whammy on a whammy. It's like super hard, but we've got to. And when things happen to you, I've talked about playing small before. When something happens to you, when you're the person who needs the world to come around you and support you, if you're not straight with them about what you're dealing with and what's going on, they can't give you the support you need. And so when you play small by leaving out important details, I know it's hard. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong. Like, I get it, but we've got to work on it. We've got to improve, because when you leave out those details, people can't support you. They can't rally the troops the way that you need the troops rallied. So part of what we've got to do is we've got to normalize these conversations so that the people who need help can ask for it, literally. And I imagine, well, I know folks who have needed the support who couldn't get it because they were gagged. Somebody in the family didn't want to acknowledge the fact that it was death by suicide, and now these people are walking around not just with grief, but with traumatic grief, because they have the grief, and on top of that, they've got the trauma of not being able to process it in a healthy way. It gets real awful real fast. So that's what I wanted to say today. And then the one other piece that it would be rattling through my head if I was hearing this is, well, what if this gets weaponized against me? It will. It just will. We're in an evolutionary period. We're all trying to improve. So I'm talking to the people who are supporting those going through grief events. I'm also talking to the people going through grief events. And sometimes the person going through the grief event is going to evolve faster, and they're going to share, and the people around them won't know how to handle it, and it will be used against them. I wish I could say that what I've shared has never been used against me. It has, and it hurts. It sucks every damn time. But the way that I look at it, especially at work, is if someone's going to screw you over with this information, they're going to screw you over. It's just a matter of when and which data point. You're not saving yourself any grief. You're just getting the cards out on the table where you can see them at a time and place of your choosing. That's all that's going on. So I wish that weren't the case, but it is. And it's important enough that I do believe, as best as you can, it's worth taking the risk. Or I'll say this, it's certainly worth taking a moment to think about it instead of just out of hand saying, we can't talk about this. Because unless you talk about the things that are going on, people can't support the things that are going on. That's all I got. Love you. See you next week.